Hello everyone. So I wanted to make a quick video about how I meal plan and prep. This is a question that a lot of people have when they start their 21-day fix journey, which is a question that I had when I first started my 21-day fix journey. So it is a very, very common thing to be very lost and confused when everything comes in. First things first that I wanted to go through, please make sure you do go and read your booklet. Everything is described in there. I know it's a lot of information, but it's good to have that as background knowledge. The second thing is when you're coming down to sit down to write out your meal plan, the first thing you want to do is figure out what bracket you're falling under. How you do that is you take your weight, you multiply it by 11, you then add 400 and you subtract 750. And you'll find what your caloric range is and you'll find out what bracket that falls underneath. I've pretty much been in the same bracket since I've started, so I've memorized my bracket at this point. So I know that per day I will be having greens. I'll have 3 containers of greens, which is also my green container. My purples, I'll have 2. My reds, I have 4. My yellows, I get 2. My blue, I get 1. Orange, 1. Teaspoons, 2. And then you have your free foods and free type of things section as well. So greens are your vegetables, purples are your fruits, reds are your proteins, yellows are your carbs, blue is a healthy fat, orange are nuts, seeds, and dressings, and teaspoons are oils or butters, like nut butters. If you do use a teaspoon for cooking, that counts as your teaspoon. I get that question a lot. So when you're cooking, you have to take this into account. Or like a teaspoon of peanut butter, that counts as one of those. So what I do when I meal prep and when I meal plan, I try to make it as easy as possible, and I'll make a video about exactly how I meal plan later on today, and I'll post that for you guys to see. But the first thing that I do is I print out our food list that we have located for you guys in our group files. I just print them out and I kind of highlight the stuff that I really like. I am not a picky eater, so for me, it's more difficult for me to condense what I want to eat in the week as opposed to going through this and being like, oh my God, I don't like anything. I'm kind of I like it all and I want to eat it all. I'm one of those type of people. So for me, that's where I find my challenge is limiting all the things I want to eat in a week to just a couple of things. So this is what I do. I write then meal 1 and I notice what I want to eat as my meal. I work out in the morning, so my meal 1 is going to be right after my workout. My meal 1, I try to have carbs and proteins early on in the morning. I know I'm going to have a very busy day, so I like to get in a carb and a protein. What I do is I make an egg sandwich. So I take 2 eggs and I just put them in a skillet with no butter, no nothing. It just fries on very low heat. So I do 2 eggs, and they have these sandwich thins, which are pretty much like one slice of bread cut in half. I take one of those, so sandwich thins, and I count those as 1 yellow because under a yellow it says that you can have, where is it? It's 1 slice of bread. You can have a pita bread, 4 inches, 1 small, but you want it to be whole wheat or whole grain. So I get the whole grain sandwich thins, and I am able to have my 2 eggs with the sandwich thin for breakfast. And I do use cheese for this. I have cheddar cheese, and I use cheese on top of my eggs. So I know that 2 eggs is counted as a protein, so I mark that down to a 3. And then my sandwich thins is counted as a carb. I mark down to a 1. And my cheese is counted as a blue. So I mark that down to a 0. Sometimes I only use half of a blue for breakfast. So I can have half of a blue on a salad. Just kind of depends on my mood. But normally I just kind of get it done with. My meal 2, which will be right after breakfast, I eat a lot in the morning. And I encourage everybody to eat a lot in the morning. You want to do that. You want to fuel your body early in the morning so you avoid starvation mode throughout the day. So my meal 2 is always my Shakeology. I drink this on my way to work, and it's my lifeline and my love and my crack. So I drink Shakeology with half of a banana, water, and ice. Amount of water and ice you put in your Shakeology is completely up to you. You know, you can put as much or as little as you like. I like mine very icy. I like it very cold and very like refreshing, like a Frosty. So I put a lot of ice in mine. But half of a banana in my Shakeology. So Shakeology counts as a protein. So I come back and I mark that down to a 2. And half of a banana is considered a serving of a fruit. So I come back and I mark that down to a 1. Sometimes I put in a full container of green of spinach in my Shakeology because you do not taste it. It is unbelievable. You will not taste it with half that banana, and it's a great way to get your greens in if you do not like vegetables. That's only if you don't like vegetables. I like my vegetables, so I kind of keep them all separate. Meal 3 is normally like my midday snack. I know it's kind of weird. Sometimes meal 3 can be somebody's lunch, and it can totally be your lunch. So I just make it bigger if it is my lunch. Since my meal 1 and 2 kind of happen within an hour of each other, I do my meal 1 like either as I'm like walking out of the door, and then I'll have my shake in the car. So it's within like 30 minutes to an hour. I keep my meal 3 as my snack. If you space these out more, meal 3 will be your lunch, and that's totally fine. But let me just give you an idea of something that I have for my snack. In order to get some greens in, I'll pack 10 baby carrots in a Ziploc bag, and I'll count that as a vegetable. That comes down to a 2. Meal 4 is normally a combination of a protein, another carb, and a vegetable. So it's really kind of up to you. At this point of the day, depending on what my mood is like and depending on what I've bought, I'll give you some variations. I sometimes make turkey sandwiches, which is like with 6 thin slices of, turkey that you get, just like turkey slices on top of the same thing that's sandwich thin. I'll do it again, and I'll put like lettuce and like vegetables inside of it, and I'll have like a sandwich for my lunch. Another thing I'll do is I'll have a salad with chicken on top, and I might put like beans or quinoa, like a quinoa type of salad mix on top of that. That's another option for my like lunch. But what I've been recently doing is I've been making turkey sandwiches. So I do like turkey slices on top of the sandwich thins I like spinach. If you like, something else, romaine, you can put onions on it. You can put tomatoes on it. Whatever you kind of like with your turkey sandwich, that could be like a vegetable. I like it in my sandwich. You can have it on the side, whatever works for you. And sometimes you're not going to get that whole grain of spinach inside that turkey sandwich. So what I do is I put a little bit in there, and I'll do like a side of cucumber or celery or carrots or whatever you like to kind of munch on the side. So that, like the spinach and the cucumber will equate to 1 green. And you can measure them out in the same container at the same time and put the spinach in your sandwich and then put the side of cucumbers, on the side. And you can put some salt and pepper, just a little bit of salt and some pepper on your cucumbers, really good. Or some vinegar or whatnot. Vinegar is free food. You can use as much of it as you'd like. Salt you want to watch throughout all this. Speaking of salt, the turkey slices, I get low sodium. I get very lean turkey slices, and I get very healthy turkey slices. So nitrate free if I can find them, organic. I try to go with the healthier options for those things because they're on the bottom of the food list. And the way that these food lists work is whatever's on top is more nutritious for you, and whatever's on bottom is kind of like quote unquote least nutritious for you. It's okay, just have variety. So that's another thing to keep in mind. 1 week if you're having it like this, the next week you can like aim towards the top a little bit more. Give yourself variety. You don't have to always work from the top. And that's where I went wrong when I first started. I got everything from like the top section, and I was like getting so sick and tired of it. So move throughout your list. Eat a lot of variety when you're doing these things. This is a lifestyle. It's not something that you're going to try to get done in just 21 days and never do it again. You're doing this for the rest of your life. So keep it a lifestyle. So I come back up here, I cross off one of the greens, I cross off one of my reds, I cross off my last yellow, and yeah, they all kind of fall in together. And I try to get my yellows, which are my carbs, in pretty early in the day. I always say the last time you really want to have a carb is around like 3:30. You don't need carbs later on in the day. You don't need these types of carbs later on in the day. You want those early to give you sustained energy throughout the day so you don't crash, you don't burn, you don't get tired or hungry throughout the day. They really hold you over. So I try to get them in as early as possible to keep me full longer. Work with yourself, figure out how these things are making you feel. And if you need something a little bit later, then you can have it closer to 3:30. You can have a carb as a snack. Many times I do sweet potatoes as like a snack, and I can talk more about that later. So just kind of figure out, what is it that you want? What is it that you feel like your body needs? Meal 5, I do a little pick-me-up. So normally it's a fruit. Normally after lunch, I want something sweet, and fruit is like my go-to. And what I normally do is I grab an apple. It states here that you can have a small apple, or you can cut up an apple and put it in your container. So what I do is I grab a small apple. It's easier for me, less prep time. You'll see in my video that I'm gonna make tonight. I talk a lot about that, making prep easy. And I get fancy, and I like that with 1 teaspoon of peanut butter, because I'm a peanut butter holic. Love it. So then I come back up here, I go to 0, my teaspoon's down to 1. Now this makes it really easy. Now I know exactly what I can have for dinner. So I see I still have a grain, and I still have a protein, and I still have a teaspoon left to make my protein or make my greens or whatever I choose to do. So meal 6 is normally chicken breast that I marinate. And if you are one of my challengers, I've emailed you my marinade list. If you would like my marinade list, please just send me a message or comment below, and I can definitely send you my marinade list for my chicken breast. I marinate chicken breasts, and I cook them as needed with just a teaspoon of oil. And then what I do normally after I've cooked my chicken breast, I take the chicken breast out, and in the same pan, so I'm not using more oil, I saute my greens. So sometimes that could be Brussels sprouts, sometimes that can be asparagus, sometimes that can be onions. I mean, I'm weird, I like onions. So whatever your green choice is, I sometimes saute it in that same pan, and I just have that as dinner. If I'm not gonna saute anything, I'll just take my chicken breast and I'll create a really small condensed mixed salad with just 1 green container. So I'll do half of that green container will be my base of my salad, which would be like spinach or kale or any kind of lettuce, just not iceberg. You can use any lettuce. And then the other half of that green I use for grated carrots, cucumber, and peppers. And at this point, I'll use my 1 orange container that I have for my fixate dressings. The dressing I'll prep and I'll hold on to so that I can kind of use it. I always have a salad a day, so I'll always use a dressing. And they last you for, I believe like a week or so. They last a while. So you can just make one of the dressings and just try it out every day for the week until it's done. I do encourage a salad a day. You do want some raw veggies as well as cooked veggies. Raw veggies have great sources of fiber, makes your GI system very happy. So definitely encourage that. Again, I come back up here, I cross it off, I go to 0 greens, I have 0 reds, I have 0 oranges, and I have 0 teaspoons. And now I know exactly what I'll be eating for the day. I've made it really easy, I've made it really kind of cut and dry, take out all the guesswork so I know exactly what I'll be doing for my preps. I know what I need to prep is 10 baby carrots in a Ziploc bag. That makes it easy. I can do 5 of those, 50 carrots, done. And when I'm shopping, I'll just buy some apples and, turkey slices. From this list, you pretty much can then, make your grocery list. Okay, I know exactly what I need for this. Perfect. You'll know exactly how long things are going to last you. Makes things really, really easy once you have this list down. Sometimes what people like to do, they like to give themselves some variety within the day, like within each day. So one day they'll do this, and then for day 2, they'll create a separate meal plan. For the first 3 days, I don't suggest that just because you want it as simple as possible as you're getting used to this new system. So I do suggest just sticking to one. I do have other variations of my meal plan, and you'll probably see that when I meal prep tonight. But this is a very, very great example of what I do for my meal prep and my meal plan for the week. I hope this helped. I'll take a picture. I'll post it in our group so you can see it up close and personal. Any questions you have, please feel free to drop them below. Send me an email, send me a text. Any way that I can help you, I'm here to help you. I hope you guys have, I hope you guys have a fantastic Sunday, and good luck meal prepping. Bye.